The wind is a thief. It steals warmth from skin and sound from the air, leaving only the percussive roar of the sea against the rocks, for the 8 figures hunched against the spray. This is the rhythm of prehistoric life. The tide is out. A grudging retreat that exposes a brief banquet of limpets and mussels clinging to the slick black stones. Fingers, raw and spit, ply and scrape. This is not a hunt. It is a harvest. Grim and methodical. Survival is a litany of small, necessary tasks. A constant calculation of energy spent versus calories gained. The world is a palette of grey sea, brown mud, and ogre cliffs. Nothing shines. Then, will flicker, a lie of light in the churned-up scree of the tidal basin. Dilara, younger than the others, her movements still holding a ghost of inefficiency, pauses, her eyes, accustomed to spotting the subtle camouflage of a whelk or the burrow of a sinworm, lock onto the anomaly. It is not the flat, dead glint of wet flint. This is something else. A soft, internal luminescence. She digs it out of the cold muck. A shell, unremarkable in shape, but its inner surface holds a pearlescent whirl of pink and green and silver. It is the color of a sunrise trapped in stone, a thing of impossible beauty in a world defined by brutal utility. The others do not notice. They are focused on the towers, on the gnawing emptiness in their bellies. An old woman grunts, her knuckles bloody as she smashes a stubborn limpet from its mooring. A male, Teo, the group's most effective hunter, scans the cliffs above, his mind already on the gulls' nests. Another, more dangerous, source of sustenance. To pause is to waste energy, to be distracted is to court death. Elara closes her small fist around the shell. The smooth, cool nacre is a secret against her palm. The subject offers no food, no warmth, no edge to cut with. In the harsh calculus of their existence, it is useless. Yet, she cannot discard it. The chronicle of hominid history is written in bone and stone. But not this. This is something new. Later, in the rock shelter that buffers them from the ceaseless wind, the fire paints dancing shadows on the stone. The meager meal is shared. The silence broken only by the crackle of flame and the grinding of teeth on gritty shellfish. Around the hearth, the floor is littered with the detritus of their lives, a carpet of sharp-edged memories. The lithic debitage from crafting hand axes and scrapers crunches underfoot, each flake a testament to the essential nature of ancient tools. Amidst this landscape of practical waste, Ilara sits apart, the shell held in her lap. The firelight catches its iridescent surface, and for a moment, the cave is filled with a soft, captivating glow. The old woman squints, her expression unreadable. Kale glances over, a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. The shell is a question mark in the center of their world. A silent challenge to the unwritten laws that have governed early humans for 100,000 years. It is beautiful, and it is worthless.
Filled with grit.
The days that follow are a blur of sameness. The unyielding routine of survival millions of years ago. The clan moves along the coastline. A slow migration dictated by the availability of shellfish and the nesting seasons of seabirds. But something has shifted. In the quiet moments, between the gnawing hunger and the bone-deep fatigue, Dilara works. She selects a sharp flake of flint, its edge keen enough to slice hide. Cradling the shell in a fold of leather, she begins to drill. It is an act of excruciating patience. The pressure must be perfect. Too hard and the fragile nacre will shatter. Too soft and the flint makes no purchase. For hours, she twists the stone, her brow furrowed in a concentration usually reserved for stalking prey or finding edible roots. The sound is a faint, grating whisper, a new note in the cave's ancient symphony of wind and crackling fire. Kel watches from the shadows, his expression a mixture of contempt and disbelief. He has just returned from a fruitless hunt. The scent of failure clinging to him like sea fog, he sees her focused effort, the calories she burns, and sees only waste. That energy could have been spent gathering firewood, chewing hides to soften them, or keeping watch for the great cats that sometimes prowl the cliffs. Her solitary work is a stone thrown into the still pool of their collective purpose. The old woman, her face a mask of leathery disapproval, simply turns her back. To her, this is a dangerous indulgence. A dalliance with meaningless when meaning is simple. Live until the next sunrise. Finally, the flint breaks through. The hole is small, imperfect, but it is a hole. She threads a thin cord of sinew through it and ties the end. The shell now rests in the hollow of her throat, its iridescence catching the dim light. It is no longer just an object. It is a part of her. This is the dawn of symbolic behavior, an act laden with a significance that transcends mere function. When a younger girl sees it, her eyes widen.
Preparing to fight back.
She reaches out a
This
tentative
spirit of
finger,
resistance and
not to feel the shell,
problem-solving drives human
but to touch
evolution
the
forward.
idea of it. She sees a piece of the sunset captured, a sliver of the moon's reflection on water made solid. In her gaze, there is no judgment, only a raw, uncomplicated wonder, the seed of a new language, one spoken not with grunts and gestures but with objects of beauty, has been planted. This nascent moment in human evolution is not about a tool, but about an idea. Elara is now different. She carries a secret, a glimmer of light that is hers alone, and in the stark world of our human ancestors, to be different is to be a risk. The community, a fragile organism built on sameness and shared instinct, now has a mutation in its midst. The cliffs are a vertical battleground. This is the sharp end of resource procurement, a place of immense risk and high reward. Below, the sea churns, hungry for any mistake. Above, thousands of gulls and guillemots nest. Their eggs a precious payload of fat and protein. The air is thick with the ammonia stench of guano and the deafening screams of the birds. Kale moves with a slow, deliberate grace, his body pressed against the rock. A creature of instinct and practiced survival skills, he is their best hope. The others watch from a safer ledge, their knuckles white, a chorus of silent anxiety. Elara is among them, her hand unconsciously strained to the shell at her throat. It feels cold against her skin. Kale reaches a promising ledge. His movements are fluid, economical. He gently lifts an egg, then another, placing them into a leather pouch. The parent birds dive and shriek, a blizzard of white fury. But he is a rock, impulsive. He turns to start his descent. At that exact moment, the sun breaks through the coastal mist. A single, brilliant beam of light strikes the nacre of Elara's shell. A dazzling flash, no bigger than a thumbnail, arcs across the cliff face. To the hypervigilant birds, this unnatural glint is a predator's eye, a sudden signal of unprecedented danger. Panic erupts. The colony explodes from the cliff not in a defensive swarm, but in a chaotic, terrified stampede. The sheer force of 10,000 wings beating the air creates a concussive blast. Tail, caught off balance, is slammed by the feathered torrent. His grip slips. A collective gasp is stolen by the wind as he scrabbles for a hold, his feet skittering on the loose scree. One of the other men, Roan, without a thought, lunges forward, grabbing the back of Kayla's hide tunic just as his main handhold gives way. For a terrifying second, two leaves hang in the balance. At a blow of desperate outrhythm against the vast, indifferent backdrop of the sea, they haul him back to the ledge. His face ashen, the pouch of precious eggs crushed. The shell at Elara's throat no longer glimmers. It is a dead weight, a monument to the disaster, back in the cave. The silence is heavier than any stone. Kayla's arm is twisted, his shoulder dislocated, a potential death sentence. He glares at Elara, his eyes filled with a cold fury that needs no words. He points a trembling finger not at her, but at the shell, at as they accuse. This is a turning point for these early Homo sapiens. The old woman, the clan's anchor, rises slowly. She walks to Elara, her face grim. She does not rip the ornament away. Instead, she takes the cord in her gnarled fingers, lifts it, and tucks the shell down inside Elara's tunic. She then taps Elara's chest twice, the same, Emphatic gesture. The message is clear. A piece of complex social legislation enacted without a single word. Beauty has its place. It can be carried. It can be owned. But it must not endanger the clan. A new rule, born of near tragedy, has been woven into the fabric of their lives. Elara bows her head, a gesture of acceptance, of understanding. The glimmer has not been extinguished, but it has learned its place in the shadows. The shell remains. It is seen now only in the flickering firelight of the cave, a private treasure. Its public danger now understood. This single, iridescent object has forced the clan to perform a staggering cognitive leap, to hold to contradictory ideas at once. That a thing can be both priceless and worthless, beautiful and dangerous. This is the kind of abstract reasoning that the field of anthropology identifies as a cornerstone of our species' ascent. The fields of archaeology dig for ancient tools, but what they truly seek are the ghosts of these moments. The first time an ancestor chose a glittering stone over an edible root, forcing a negotiation between the soul's new hunger and the belly's ancient one. They did not choose one over the other. They chose both. They made a rule. They created a culture. From this single, contentious point of light radiates the entire spectrum of human expression. Art, status, identity, and the eternal, complicated dance between the individual and the tribe. Every skyscraper that glitters in the sun, every jewel in a crown, every piece of art that serves no purpose but to be beautiful, is an echo of the day a young woman decided to wear a piece of the ocean, and her clan, on the brink of rejecting it, instead chose to make a space for it. They survived not just the wind and the hunger, but the beautiful, terrible complexity of themselves. We are the chroniclers. We listen to the silence between the excavated bones, seeking the story that the stones themselves cannot tell. What happens when the glimmer is not found, but forged?